Welcome back. Well, we're continuing with our Pros That Know segments where we partner with pros from all around the community. This morning we've got Topher Hansen from Centerpointe here to talk about a very important, rather sensitive topic that not a lot of people like to talk about, but it's so important that we get the word out there. We're talking suicide, specifically suicide prevention, how we can help people.
Right, and so the very issue that you bring up, how sensitive it is exactly what people run into, that is a natural response, but it really is the other way we need to go. That sometimes when somebody is in a depressed state, or you can really sense they're having trouble, and you wonder about the fact that are they thinking about suicide, then we back off and go, well, I don't want to ask. That would push them into that thought, wouldn't it, or things like that. And instead what it is the right question to ask, because people are willing to respond to that if they're in that condition.
Especially when we consider the statistics. It's the #2 cause of death for young people ages 15 to 34. Jarring statistics that somebody that young is willing to take their life, so new to the world. They have so much left to experience, and that's what they need to know. They need to know that they have a purpose.
Yes, absolutely, and it's complex how people get into this, but not because of what I do in the world at Centerpointe, but just because of knowing people. I know 5 families who have lost children, and that just should never be. And so the thing that we're trying to do is say, you know, this can be something that is preventable, and unfortunately it's on the rise. And that what we need to do is, so I have some tips, which is some action steps. You can ask them, are they thinking about committing suicide? And then keep them in a safe environment so they feel safe and you're connected to them, and that's being there for them. So, you know, I say to people all the time when people are struggling, if you hold their hand on the way in to come get therapy, it makes a world of difference. And then you can start to kind of have them go on their own, but just
knowing they have that support.
That support is giant, and then help them connect to that therapy, that helper person. So you don't have to be the therapist or the hero. All you have to be is their loved one and their friend, and help them connect that way. And then check in with them afterwards. So showing concern, asking the questions, being there, keeping them safe, making that connection for them, and then following up with that to make sure it's going on. I'll tell you, when you do things like that, later on they come back and go, wow, you were huge for me, because I didn't know what to do. And it's not that the pain of what they're going through seems insurmountable. And so they can't think of any way else out. And sometimes it's hard for us to understand that, but that's the frame of mind they're in.
So one thing, just before we wrap up here, for someone who maybe knows, they have a suspicion, maybe they think that a loved one of theirs may be going down this path, that conversation can be difficult to start up. So what is your just quick word of advice to those people that feel like they're in a position where they need to step in and intervene and make that connection?
So just attach to how much you love them, and do an expression of concern and love, and ask those questions. I'm telling you, it is the one truth that love conquers all.
I was just going to say, love conquers all.
And when you do love and concern, rather than judgment or I'm going to fix you or things like that, just the concern and the love, that will make that connection and help you start down the road.
It truly is so powerful. Topher, thank you so much. Hopefully we can help save some lives, and really is an incredible thing that you guys do there at Centerpointe. We know there's also a crisis hotline, that number on your screen right now. So if you know anybody who could use some words, talk to some people at Centerpointe, that
24/7
listed on your screen. Absolutely. Thank you so much for coming in.
Nicole.
We'll be right back with our second midday guest.